Yes, lads and lasses, welcome to Everything Bite Sized. I've got another Reddit post here, and it looks hilarious. I've read the first couple of paragraphs, and it looks hilarious, but it's really long, so we're gonna have to settle down, and I'm gonna try not to get ahead of myself, and I will have to take a few breaks for vaping, some nicotine, and also having some tea. All right, let's get stuck into it. Right. All right. So this is about a guy that, that calls this kid Streetlamp Limousse. Yeah. So it works for both a girl and a boy. That's double the goodness of your ordinary name. Imagine this: your son, Streetlamp Limousse, classy motherfucker. He turns 5, starts going to preschool. The first day, his teacher is doing roll call and gets to his name. She looks up, creases her brow, and reads again, sure that she had made a mistake. Street lamp, she says, her brow still furrowed, looking around at the collection of eager kids cross-legged at her feet. Enter Mr. Street Lamp. Is he wearing a Sesame Street shirt? No, he's wearing a shirt, tie too. He looks at the teacher and says, yes, miss? Classy. The whole class is looking at him now, admiring his fashion sense, his awesome name, his doubly good name. The rest of them, their name is only good for a girl or a boy, but for both, this kid must surely be a god. Oh, my, Mr. Streetlamp, the teacher will say. You sure have a unique name. I'm a unique guy, he'll reply, turning to the cutie decked out in a floral dress next to him and shooting her a wink. Fade to black. 3rd grade. Streetlamp starts making ripples through his primary school. People have a problem, Streetlamp will sort them. Lost the ball, Streetlamp has got your back. Skip rope gone missing, Streetlamp got you. He's earning the admiration and respect of those in the years above him, and soon enough he's becoming this local legend. Streetlamp, the man that gets things done. His unique, amazing name has pushed him to be a unique, amazing gentleman. Kind-hearted, check. Brave, check. Athletic, check. Intelligent, you betcha. His reputation precedes him. The kids graduating that year are going to go to their middle schools, and the legend of Streetlamp Limousse will spread further. The kid is like the kid that's unstoppable. The classy motherfucker that does what's right and does it well. 7th grade, time to start middle school. Hormones start to kick in. By now there are some overdeveloped dickish guys teasing him. You know what Streetlamp does? He doesn't fight back. He doesn't wage warfare against them. He just grins. Every night he runs. Every night he works out. His muscles are starting to develop. His facial structure, impeccable. He's beautiful. The bully... Let me just have a vape, yeah? 1 second. This is getting too much for me to read. I can't stop laughing. Wait. I'll read that last paragraph again. This is good. I like this. 7th grade, time to start middle school. Hormones start to kick in. By now, there are some overdeveloped dickish guys teasing him. You know what Streetlamp does? He doesn't fight back. He doesn't wage warfare against them. He just grins. Every night he runs. Every night he works out. His muscles are starting to develop. His facial structure, impeccable. He's beautiful. The bullies aren't caring, and the bullies aren't caring though. They're just continuously ripping into him day after day. So what do you do when you're pushed repeatedly? Snap? Not Streetlamp. Streetlamp waits until they're separated from one another, approaching and befriending each on their own. Gets to know them, finds out that the bigger one, George, he's secretly in love with this girl and has been trying to rip on Streetlamp because he's a baller, and the girls love him, trying to prove that he's more attractive by bullying him. So Streetlamp, the good guy that he is, goes and approaches the girl, starts talking George up, telling her what a great guy he is, really. Soon enough, they're going on a date, the kind of cheesy date that 7th graders go on. That trip to the movies where they gingerly hold hands halfway into the movie and she blushes and his breath increases in pace, nerves racing, heart pumping with such ferocity. Fast forward, Streetlamp the freshman, parentheses, fresh, man. His rep has spread through the high school already. Do you remember that cute girl in the floral dress from preschool? Yeah, she goes on to the same one. She's developed pretty well, looking beautiful. First day of class, the teacher's doing roll call. She looks at the list, furrows her brow. Looking up, she lowers her head, reading again. Street lamp, Lemurs, she says. He looks up from the discussion he's having with one of the buddies that he's made through George, talking about cologne or something like that. Yes, miss, he says. He looks around, catching the eyes of the floral girl, winking at her once again. She giggles, blushing. They start dating a few weeks later. Her name's Abigail. It's a good relationship. He treats her well, not needy, not clingy, but just enough attention for her to feel loved, for her to spread the rumour that he's an amazing boyfriend and an amazing guy. Junior year, Street Lamp and Abigail have broken up. Oh shit. It was mutual. It wasn't because there were problems in a relationship. Floral Girl just started thinking that they should see other people. She didn't feel like she was good enough for him. He always treated her so well, and she'd never dated a guy before. It was feeling too serious, and she didn't want to get so serious so soon. Street Lamp, he didn't mind. Street Lamp, he didn't mind. He made sure they remained friends. They still eat lunch together most days, take the same classes, and talk a lot. He started playing football, quarterback. Coach is saying that his AP Calc and physics classes are really helping him with his arc, and his AP classes in ancient history have made him a master strategist. Nobody quite knows how he does it. 8 AP classes in junior year while being the quarterback of the number 7 ranked team in the country. He practices incessantly, studies even more. It should take its toll on his health, but it doesn't. He stays on top of it all. By now, the whole school knows who he is, and there's a non-stop stream of sophomores and juniors approaching him in the hallway, asking if he wants to come to this or that party. He's the sweetheart of the school, and the sort of boy that every girl in the school fantasizes about. George, linebacker on the team, best buddies by now. Him and the girl dated for a while, but it's well and truly over now. Right, let me just take a break. Making my mouth dry, man. It's so long. Worth it though. Right. Enter Friday night. House party in the suburbs. Street Lamp rocks up with his buddies late, 10 or 11 at night. Everyone is well and truly drunk. A huge cheer erupts when they walk in. He's handed a beer as soon as he enters. He offers it to George. He doesn't drink. His mind is in his best instrument. He doesn't want to damage it. Senior's hanging by the staircase. She's wearing an olive miniskirt and one of those ripped tees. Her hard body tightly encased. Hi, Street Lamp, she says. Well, hi there. You want to come upstairs with me? Fade to black. Senior year, Street... Wait. Senior year, Street Lamp and Abigail have drifted apart. He's dating the tight body. She's 18 months older, going to college nearby. He thought there might be some issue due to her being college, him senior year, but no such issue. And he was a local hero by now. The football team was speculated to be number 1 in the country this year, with him as the QB. Schools all over the country were scouting him. People latched onto her to be friends by association. She filters all the ones that aren't good at people. She's good like that. He's studying pretty hard and training too. It's a big year for him. He spends half his time at the college taking classes, the other half is at the school. A few classes being taken, but the majority spent devising new plays for the football team. He's turned into a natural born leader. He goes out to one of the girlfriend's college's parties. While he's there, he gets introduced to this girl, Amber. Now, Amber isn't what he's used to. The girls that surround him are the typical preppy Forever 21 shopping silicone clones of one another. Oh, I like that. Amber, though, she was witty, dry, ironic, and twisted. This is written really well, man. Right. I'm gonna read that again because that flows off the tongue beautifully. He goes out to one of the girlfriend's college's parties. While he's there, he gets introduced to this girl, Amber. Now, Amber isn't what he's used to. The girls that surround him are the typical preppy Forever 21 shopping wait. The girls that surround him are the typical preppy Forever 21 shopping silicone clones of one another. Amber, though, she was witty, dry, ironic, and twisted. This is exhausting me. They became friends. No romantic inclinations. The girlfriend gets worried. Streetlamp tells her not to. Streetlamp only has loving enough for one girl, and that's her. Few weeks later, Amber and Streetlamp are becoming pretty tight. Amber reveals she's a lesbian. Streetlamp, being the classy motherfucker slash good guy that he is, doesn't care. Instead, he puts some feelers out and finds a few girls around her age that he thinks she'll like. He sets up a few blind dates. The first one didn't go so well. They didn't get along. He sets up a few blind dates. The first one didn't go so well. They didn't get along. The second, it seemed to go great, but Amber wasn't a fan. She's getting pretty distant with him. He asks her what's up. She reveals she is actually in love with Tight Body. Dilemma. Streetlamp the Moose, being deserving of the good guy name, sets up the threesome. so Tight Body is his girlfriend, yeah. If you've lost track because of my shit storytelling ability, Tight Body is Streetlamp the Moose's girlfriend, and this other chick, Amber, is a lesbian and his friend. and Amber fancies his girlfriend. So, Streetlamp the Moose, being deserving of the good guy name, sets up the threesome. Amber gets to live out her desires. Tight Body gets to experience a typical lesbian phase in college, and he sits back. The news of his sexual prowess spreads. Tight Body ends up falling for Amber, and they start dating. Streetlamp the Moose, angry? No. He's happy for them. He's proud. Graduation. Valedictorian, #1 football team in the country, accepted a place at Stanford doing pre-law. He gives his speech and talks about his life, how he's been empowered, and how he's lucky to have such a loving and caring family, how his dad is his hero. He starts crying. He doesn't hide it. He keeps his chin up and lets the tears roll down his face as he tells them about all that his mother and father gave up for him, how they taught him to be the person he is today. Damn. That is getting wholesome. Anyway, a lot of people are crying along with him. After the ceremony, the principal shakes his hand, telling him that's the finest speech. It's the finest speech that he has ever heard. He throws a party that night. He asks his mother and father to stay home and celebrate with him. He's still not drinking, but he lets everyone around him drink. Nobody gets too wasted out of mutual respect for him. The doorbell rings. One of his buddies starts to get up to answer it. No, dude, relax. Have a good time, Streetlamp says. He opens the door, and who's there? Floral. Floral is the chick from earlier, from kindergarten or whatever. That he winks at. Anyway, his voice catches in his throat, and he stammers for a second. Hi. He manages to spit out. He's never been tongue-twisted around a girl before. She's got long auburn hair now. It goes past her shoulders and she's wearing a floral print dress. Nice dress. I haven't seen you in one like that since his thought trailed. Since preschool. I know. She smiled at him. Second year at college, starting QB of the Stanford Cardinal. He's got a passing rate of 1.76.4. I have no idea what that means. Over the season. His coach says that he's really become a leader in the team. A lot of the pro teams are looking at him. He's being pressured into declaring for the draft. It's a dilemma. Streetlamp loves football, but he also loves learning. He's sharp-witted in his law classes, top in the year group. He's been asked by his professors to help TA in some of the first-year classes. They're pretty boring. He didn't really enjoy them the first time round, but Streetlamp has never been one to turn down an opportunity. First day as a TA. I'm guessing that's teaching assistant. Introduction to corporate law. He turns up about 20 minutes early and takes a seat in the third row back. He's always wanted to pull the cliche, talk to student, make comments about the lecturer, walk up and become lecturer move. He sits down next to a girl, cropped brunette hair spiked up at the back, a biker jacket on. Well, you're a rare sight in a class like this, he says, turning to her. She turns to him, grinning. Streetlamp? Abigail? I barely recognised you, she laughed. It's been an interesting year. I can tell. A middle-aged man walked in, heading down the stairs towards the front of the stage. You're taking the first year law, she asked. Something like that. The man took the podium, scanning the students. Streetlamp, just who I wanted to see. Get on up here, he says. The attention of the whole lecture theatre suddenly on him. That year, him and Abigail get close again. Friends. They talk most nights. It turns out their dorms aren't that far away from each other. Turns out that she'd gotten into pre-med at Harvard, but dropped out during her first semester. Pardon me, about to burp. She's taken to going out every night, partying hard enough to make most college students envious. Right, give me 1 second. Give me a little break. This is exhausting. Right. She'd changed. She was no longer a sweet girl, but she was an amazing one. She never acted like an idiot around him or sucked up to him or tried to be cute. She was just who she was. As the year progressed, she was based basically. As the year progressed, the football season wore on. They were going undefeated in their division. 2 other teams were undefeated too, though. It was uncertain whether or not they'd go to the BCS. No idea what that means. When they were selected, there was an uproar. Everyone just presumed it was because of Streetlamp that they'd gotten through. That year, they win the BCS. 3rd year, last year at pre-law. Abigail and Streetlamp start dating. The coach of the Cardinals didn't like it to begin with. There was a lot of conflict. He thought that she was bad for him, that she was dangerous. The cropped spiky hair and leather she always wore, even in the dead of summer, didn't help Streetlamp's case. It was a Tuesday night that the sparks truly flew. Streetlamp was sitting in the coach's office, a combination of mahogany and red lush carpet. Parentheses, coach had been given a raise after the BCS championship. It isn't acceptable, Streetlamp. I can't have my star athlete going around dating somebody like that. It isn't just about you anymore. It's about your career. It's about the public perception. It's about our fans and the teams that are scouting you, that want you. Is it really worth risking all that for? He paused, a look of disgust on his face. Her? Quite frankly, coach, he said, staring him straight in the eyes, I couldn't care less. I try to do always try to do what's right and not to always be honest. And that's what I'm going to do now. Abigail is the girl that I care about, that I love. Her appearance be damned. She is the single most kind, caring, intelligent and brilliant girl that I have ever met. And if you were to ask me to give up her, either her or football, well, I'd have to have a long think about that. Boy, I've been where you are before. I've cared for. God damn. I've loved girls with more of me. with more of me than I care to admit. But this is your future. This is the rest of your life. She isn't the type that you marry. She's the type that you fuck for a few years, spend your fortune on, and then leaves you for your best buddy. He inhaled, tearing up a little bit. I just don't want to see her by her Streetlamp. I want to read that bit again. Okay. Boy, I've been where you are before. I've cared for, goddamn. I've loved girls with more of me than I care to admit, but this is your future. This is the rest of your life. She isn't the type that you marry. She's the type that you fuck for a few years, spend your fortune on, and then she leaves you for your best buddy. He inhaled, tearing up a little bit. I just don't want to see you get hurt by her Streetlamp. I understand, coach, but you have to understand me. I've known her for most of my life. I've trusted her with all that I am, and she hasn't betrayed me. Sure, we have had rough patches. We drift apart sometimes, but we always come back. We always come back. Football is one thing, coach, but a life without the girl that I love, that's something completely different. They sat in silence for a little while, coach staring at his desk and Streetlamp at his lap. Streetlamp's voice croaked as he started to speak again. If you're asking me to choose between football and the love of my life, you know the answer. That season, they went undefeated again with Streetlamp. I still can't get over the name, Streetlamp. Draft day 2032. Streetlamp is paraded across the state. Is that 2032? Is this a futuristic thing? I don't know. Draft day 2032. Streetlamp is paraded across the stage along with the rest of the speculated top draft picks. Just looking at him, you can tell that behind those eyes lurks an incredible intellect. The introductory proceedings stretch on for half an hour, but finally they're backstage again. Streetlamp sighs, his nerves holding his chest in a vice. It's going to be fine, honey, she says, hugging him tight to her chest. I know, it's just, wow. Who would have thought, hey? Who would have thought? I always knew. I read a story about you once, said his father, joking to relieve the tension. Best goddamn story ever written. Streetlamp laughed. That's ridiculous. Loosened you up though, didn't it? Sure did. There was a short silence. Streetlamp rubbed his eyes. Did you get much sleep last night? His mother asked. Not enough, Streetlamp said. The nerves, you know. First pick, I'm telling you, son. LA Jaguars, your new home. The introductions are done. The elderly Peyton Manning stands in front of thousands of fans, millions watching live at home. The first pick of the 2032 draft goes to the LA Jaguars. A tense minute passes. Streetlamp watches the action on the small TV in the backstage area, a camera up in his face. Another minute passes. He starts to panic. Abigail clutches his hand. Staring at her, he can't help but smile. Over the last year, she'd traded her cropped hair for a longer style and her leather in for sweaters and blouses. She never did say why, but he suspected that word got back to her about his confrontation with the coach. He'd asked, but she just denied. And with the first pick of the 2032 NFL draft, the LA Jaguars pick Streetlamp the Moose. His jaw dropped. The name, though. And with the first pick of the 2032 NFL draft, the LA Jaguars pick Streetlamp the Moose. His jaw drops, exhaling deeply, his eyes wide open. His mother and father are jumping up and down screaming. Abigail is clutching onto him tighter than ever. You did it, she says. You did it. The day after the contract had been drawn up, including the special circumstances, the news story broke that night Streetlamp the Moose signed up for 47 million over 7 years, reported to also be attending law school as well. He's taken the degrees externally. Sorry, I don't know why I find that funny. It's just like they're proper repping him. The day after the contract had been drawn up, including the special circumstances, the news story broke that night. Streetlamp the Moose signed for 47 million over 7 years, reported to also be attending law school as well. He's taken the degree externally. He told his father the day before the signing he'd been accepted to Yale, 2036. He hesitated briefly, enough time for a grin to stretch ear to ear. I do. You may now kiss the bride. With that, he removed the veil from over Abigail's face. She smiled back at him. I like how they just threw that in there, like really quickly. So I'm just taking my socks off. So they just threw that in there casually. So the day after the contract had been drawn up, including the special circumstances, the news story broke that night. Streetlamp the Moose signed for 47 million over 7 years, reported to also be attending law school as well. He's taken a degree externally. He's told his father the day before the signing he's been accepted to Yale, 2036. He hesitated briefly, enough time for a grin to stretch ear to ear. I do. You may now kiss the bride. That's fucking smooth. With that, he removed the veil from over Abigail's face. She smiled back at him. Her hair was well past her shoulders now and stuck a little to the veil. He wiped it off, tucking it behind her ear. I love you, you know, she smiled. I know. In that moment, during that kiss, he felt like he'd never kissed a girl before, like this was the beginning of a lot of firsts. He slipped the ring onto her finger. It was simple, plain, white gold with an inlay of diamonds. She slipped his on, plain gold. It contrasted beautifully with the two over-designed Super Bowl rings on his right hand. The same year, he stood in front of the graduation class of the Yale Law School. Sorry, I've got to take a break. One sec. My mouth is getting really dry. This is hard, man. I'm trying to do all this in one take. I want it to be organic though, and I want to experience it with you guys. So I don't want to read it first. Anyway, The same year, he stood in front of the graduation class of Yale Law School. I don't know very many of you, he said, and that's a shame. I don't doubt that you're all wonderful people, and it pains me to have not had the opportunity to meet and spend time with you all. We have all had a tough few years struggling through corporate law and the intricacies of civil procedure, but we have made it. Today, he started, staring out at the crowd. We stand not students, but lawyers. we stand as the guardians of justice. We stand as the defenders of good. We stand as the people that can make a physical, tangible change to the world for the better. I want to tell you all a story. I don't know why I'm finding this so funny. One sec. The defenders of justice. Right. Right. I don't know very many of you, he said, and that's a shame. I don't doubt that you're all wonderful people, and it pains me to not have had the opportunity to meet and spend time with you all. We have all had a tough few years, struggling through corporate law and the intricacies of civil procedure, but we made it. Today, he started, staring out at the crowd. We stand not as students, but lawyers. We stand as the guardians of justice. We stand as the defenders of good. We stand as the people that can make a physical, tangible change to the world for the better. I want to tell you all a story. In West Philadelphia, in middle school, I fell in love with a girl. I ran into her again in my second year of pre-law. She didn't look like she used to, or act like the person she once was. But love doesn't discriminate. I had to make one of the hardest decisions of my life that year. My coach asked me to choose between playing football and being with the person that I love. He asked me to choose because of how she looked, of how she was perceived, of the person that he believed that she was judging only on the superficial. I chose her. That day it struck me. There's a lot of people in this world that judge and believe based solely off of that day it struck me, there's a lot of people in this world that judge and believe based solely off the superficial. There are a lot of people that don't care to take time to get to know somebody, to care for them and understand them. I ask everybody here today to remember this and hold it as tightly as I do. It is our job now to fight for people who can't fight anymore. It is not our job to judge them for how they got there. It is our job to create permanent, lasting change, not to make the world appear better, to make it actually better. I would love to leave you today with a quote. The real judges of your character aren't your neighbours, your relatives, or even the people you play bridge with. The folks who really know you are waiters, waitresses, and clerks. Fuck, that's deep. I have to stop, I'm sorry. That is fucking deep. Do you know that people say that you can tell like someone's character by how they treat like people in the service industry? I've worked in the service industry, and that is so deep. I'm going to have to repeat that. I would like to leave you today with a quote. The real judges of your characters aren't your neighbours, your relatives, or even the people you play bridge with. The folks who really know you are waiters, waitresses, and clerks. Thank you. 2041. His office, I know it keeps going on, but it's good. 2041. His office overlooked the field. Deep white lines punctuated the lush grass. Ever going to upgrade the AstroTurf, sir? Streetlamp asked. The franchise owner laughed. It was a deep laugh, jolly even. He was the type of man that could make a child believe there was Santa for a few more years. I can't stand the stuff, he said. If it's not real, it can't be good. It's a bit of a shame. I've been almost too careful since Chair came along. Chair? Your son, right? Yes, sir. Chair de Burlap. Interesting name. Strong name, he said. His brow. Wait 1 second. I'm a bit the same. I've been almost too careful since Chair came along. Chair, your son, right? Yes, sir. Chair de Burlap. Interesting name. Strong name, he said, his brow creasing, nodding. You think he's going to become a legendary quarterback like his father? Streetlamp laughed. I'm not a legend yet, sir. The owner suddenly taking a stern tone. Son, you will be after you sign this. You do understand what this makes you, right? The highest paid quarterback in the league? The highest paid quarterback in the league. He shook his head. What are you going to do with all that money? Good, sir. I'm going to do good. I'm sure you will, son. That night, Streetlamp picked up his phone. He went to speed dial and pressed 1. His father's voice met him on the other end of the line. Hey, Dad, he said. Streetlamp, how you doing? How's chair? We're good, Dad. I signed the new contract today. I saw. It's all over the news. 180 million. It's a lot of money. That it is. Any plans for what you're going to do with it? I'm opening my own charity. I've been doing a bit of pro bono work with sexually women. He paused. These women, Dad, they're broken. They're violated and they're broken. It's like somebody has reached inside and stolen all that is theirs, removed any safety in their life. He paused. His father remained silent on the other end of the line. He knew by now when he knew by now. Sorry, I was just a bit taken back about how deep that post suddenly got. I'm opening my own charity. I've been doing a bit of pro bono work with sexual women. He paused. These women, Dad, they're broken. They're violated and they're broken. It's like somebody has reached inside and stolen all that is theirs, removed any safety in their life. He paused. His father remained silent on the other end of the line. He knew by now when Streetlamp just needed to compose his thoughts. I can't make it all better for them, Dad, but I can try to help them. That's very noble. It's just the right thing to do. You always do the right thing. Streetlamp heard the doorknob jiggle and watched as Abigail got home. Hey, babe, good day. She'd shed. Sorry. Fucking hell. Let me have a little break. One sec. Got really deep, really suddenly. Right. Hey, babe, good day? She'd shed the baby weight amazingly quick. It was great. I'm just on the phone with Dad. Tell him I say hi. Will do. Was that Abby? Streetlamp's dad asked. Sure was. She says hi. I'll let you go then. Tell her I said hi back. Okay. Bye, Dad. I love you. Love you too, son. Streetlamp leaned back in the chair, his head throbbing. I saw the news, said Abigail. It's hard not to nowadays. 180 million. It's a lot of money. I know. How much are you pledging to the charity? I wanted to talk to you about that. I was thinking. His sentence trailed off. Yes? I was thinking I'd pledge 170 million if you're okay with that. I'm more than okay. I'm proud of you. 2046. Breaking news. Jaguars star quarterback Streetlamp Lemoose has called a press conference. The name still gets me. Abigail stood opposite him, adjusting his tie. Are you sure you want to do this? I've never been more sure. But you love football. I love my family more. Last week was too close for comfort. I can't lose you. I can't leave you to look after Chair and Annie alone. Oh, there's an Annie now. Okay. You're a good father. You're the best mother. She smiled at him and pecked him on the lips. A thin blonde woman pokes her head out from the corridor. Mr. Streetlamp, sir, are you ready? Yes, I am, Jesse. He reached into his pocket, making sure that his palm cards were there. Adjusting his suit jacket, inhaled and exhaled exactly once and walked out, making his way on the stage. And here he is, moving surprisingly well considering last week's accident, said one news reporter. He spent the last week flanked by reports that he's injured and unable to play for the rest of the season. Looking at him now, I feel confident in speculating that those reports are false, another said. Taking the lectern, Streetlamp sighed, pulling out his palm cards and scanning the first one before he began speaking. Ladies and gentlemen, reporters, sports fans, the American public, today I stand in front of you with two things to tell you. It is with great sadness that I must announce my retirement from the NFL. A wave of frenzied whispers crashed over the crowd. Last week, as you all know, I was on the receiving end of a high tackle, and as I'm sure you all know, it rendered me unconscious. Funnily enough, it was being knocked unconscious that woke me up to the fact that I'm no longer a young man. I'm not in the same athletic shape I once was. I can relate to that, mate. Anyway, I'm not going to lie to you. Sorry if I'm reading this really bad now. I'm kind of tired and my mouth is getting really dry. Not going to lie to you. It was scary for me. I have an amazing son, Chair de Burlap, who's starting preschool this year, and the most beautiful daughter any man could hope for. I could not bear to lose either one of them or have them grow up without a father. My father was the linchpin of my childhood. Really, he's still the linchpin of my life now. He's the most caring, passionate, loving person in my life. Mark, my mother. And I don't think I'd be 1/10 of the person I am today if it wasn't for him. I've been blessed with an amazing career and a team full of the best people I could ever hope to meet, and I apologise for putting them in this position. I'm sorry, but my family will always come first. Marcus Delroy is a brilliant quarterback, and I'm sure that the team will be more safe with him. How fucking long? Oh, it's nearly finished. All right, let me just have a quick break. I've achieved a lot of things over the last few years. I've opened my own charity. I've defended the rights of women who couldn't afford defending. I've raised money for cancer awareness and for lower income neighbourhoods. I've always had the desire to make the world a better place, and I've always aspired to live up to that desire. It is with this in mind that I make my second announcement. He looked down at his cards, breathing in and out deeply. In the next election, I will be running as governor of California. Thank you. He walks off stage. 2056. Ladies and gentlemen, Streetlamp said, his voice poised, his back straight. I would like to thank you all for the ongoing support over the last 2 years. I would like to thank you all for your faith in me and for the faith in my party. Today, he paused, today is the beginning of a new day, the start of a new people. We have experienced economic hardship, political insecurity, civil unrest, and abuse of powers in this century, and I am proud to say that I will be the one to bring an end to this. An eruption of applause encapsulated the room. I'm going to read that again, that's pretty deep. Today, he paused, today is the beginning of a new day, the start of a new people. We have experienced economic hardship, political insecurity, civil unrest, and abuse of powers in this century. But I am proud to say that I will be the one to bring an end to this. An eruption of applause encapsulated the room. The United States was once a great country. It was once a nation that stood for the very fundamental rights of freedom, liberty, and justice. It pains me as an American that our fine country was sullied by the irresponsible and reckless actions of a minority put in a position of power, and I'm sure it pains you too. I ran in this election to give a voice to the people that have never had a voice, to restore the country to a place that judged not on what is presented superficially, but on the quality of their ideas, the strength of their convictions, and on the greatness of their character. Citizens of the United States, citizens of the world, today we have made the first step towards a tangible change for the better. We have made the first step to the enablement of our people. We have made the first step towards restoring our country to the greatness that it once was. I am thankful and I am grateful to all who voted for me. I look forward to creating a better country and creating a better world. With that, Streetlamp exited the stage. Abigail waited in the wings for him. Embracing him, she whispered seductively, "Hello, Mr. President." He smiled at her, chuckling. "Hello, First Lady." This is what happens if you call your son Streetlamp the Moose. That's the end of the post. "Hello, Mr. President." Man, I don't know what to say about this. This is a masterpiece. This is a beautiful bit of writing, beautiful short story. Right, on that note, this has been Everything Bite Size. Subscribe for more. Check out my shorts. Check out my music videos. Peace.